Remember the sky you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon, know who she is.
Remember the sun's birth at dawn.
That is the strongest point of time.
Remember sundown.
And the giving away tonight.
Ehozagat Agatlejabus.
Recuerdas.
Remember.
Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath.
You are evidence of her life and her mother's.
And hers.
And hers.
And hers.
Remember your father.
Pache.
Baba. Padre.
Papa.
He is your life also. Ehozagat Agatlejabus.
Monereko.
Remember.
Remember the earth whose skin you are.
Red earth.
Black earth.
Yellow earth. White earth.
Brown earth.
We are earth.
Remember.
Kanaina.
Recuerdas.
Cheetah.
Monereko.
Remember the plants, trees, animal life.
Who all have their tribes.
Their families. Their histories too.
Talk to them.
Listen to them.
Listen.
They are alive poems.
Remember the wind.
Cheetah. Fung.
Remember her voice.
Ila hakli black makanla.
She knows the origin of this universe.
Agatlejabus.
Remember.
Remember, you are all people and all people are you.
Kanaina.
Recuerdas.
Cheetah.
Monereko.
Remember.
You are this universe, and this universe is you.
Remember.
All is in motion, is growing.
Is you.
Remember, language comes from this.
Remember the dance that language is.
That life is. Ehozagat Agatlejabus.
Kanaina.
Recuerdas.
Cheetah.
Monereko.
Ehozagat Agatlejabus.
Kanaina.
Recuerdas.
Cheetah.
Monereko.
Ehozagat Agatlejabus.
Kanaina.
Recuerdas.
Cheetah.
Monereko.
Remember.
Please welcome Global Advisor to the winners of the Earthshot Prize and founder of Bloomberg Philanthropies and Bloomberg LP, Michael R. Bloomberg.
Well, thank you, Vaga, and for that introduction, and good morning to everyone. Thank you to today's performers, Joy Harjo and Ariana Kwan, Marco Chin, and Jennifer Martinez from the Urban World NYC. That poetry really was powerful. Have I remembered every word of it? No, but I'll go back and read it later on. And thank you all for being here. We have a great program ahead, and it even includes my co-star in the blockbuster and critically acclaimed movie, The Adjustment Bureau, Matt Damon. I knew he'd get a round of applause. As I'm sure all of you remember, I had a tough role that really stretched my acting chops, playing the mayor of New York City. I still can't believe that I didn't win an Oscar for that. But the roles, seriously, that we are playing today really are the most important of our lives, because there is no challenge bigger than the battle against climate change. Success requires global cooperation and big, bold new ideas. And that's what inspired Prince William to launch the Earthshot Prize 2 years ago. Now, I know how much he wanted to be here today. I talked to him the day before yesterday. But there is no better way to honor the extraordinary life of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, than by gathering here in support of work that he is leading on an issue that meant so much to her. The Earthshot Prize, I think, is a testament to the environmental legacy of Queen Elizabeth, and I know Prince William and King Charles are both determined to extend that legacy. Prince William created this prize to incentivize the kind of innovation that can accelerate the fight against climate change. And our foundation, along with the other Global Alliance founding partners, has been glad to support it from the very beginning. Leading up to this event, I was thinking about the bold and daring American project that inspired the name of this prize, the Moonshot. And there's a story about JFK, John F. Kennedy, that captures, I think, the spirit of the Moonshot and of the Earthshot as well. Back in 1962, at the height of the Cold War, President Kennedy visited NASA headquarters in Houston, Texas. And as he was touring the facility, so the story goes, and looking at all of the state-of-the-art technology, he ran into a man who was holding a broom. And as the story goes, the president asked him, "What do you do here?" And the man who worked as a janitor for NASA replied, "I'm helping put a man on the moon." And he was absolutely right. The lesson of that is that great things are possible only when everyone pulls together and everyone works hard towards a common goal. And no matter what you do, if it contributes to the greater good, it's worth doing. So when you're pushing big goals, there are no small jobs. Everyone has a role to play, and every role is important. And that spirit is what took us to the moon, and it's what will make it possible to save the Earth from climate change. Today, we have the opportunity to celebrate innovators who are leading the way. They are taking on hard challenges like reforestation, carbon renewal, coral restoration, turning sanitation waste into organic fertilizer, generating hydrogen power, and reducing food waste. And at Bloomberg, we're glad to support them every step of the way. Over the past year, a number of people at our foundation and company have been working hand in hand with Earthshot winners and finalists on everything from scaling their operations to connecting them with experts and investors. And today, we're announcing that we're going to be helping many of these finalists take their ideas to the next level. For instance, we will help Takachar expand its effort to eliminate carbon emissions from agricultural waste by enlisting our partners on a pilot project that can help bring their work to more communities in northern India. We'll also provide a grant to support Pristine Seas in their effort to explore and protect the oceans, and to put the world on a path to protecting 30% of the oceans by 2030. These are just two of the many grants that we're making, and I know this is just the beginning of the process that will be ushered in by this prize. After all, the success of the Earthshot can be measured only by the success of the winners and finalists. It can also be measured by all the other ideas that it's galvanized, some of which may well prove to be breakthroughs. This year, I'm glad to say, we have seen more than a 30% increase in applications for the Earthshot Prize from around the world. So the spirit of the Moonshot is still very much alive, and success really is within our power. So thank you to everyone in this room for everything you're doing to make it possible. And a special thanks to Caroline Kennedy, who is here with us today and who is continuing her family's legacy of doing things because they're hard. And now I'm glad to introduce someone who has devoted her life to building a better world. Prime Minister Ardern is the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and she is also a global leader on climate change. She understands the scale of the challenge and is really ready to do something what it takes to really meet it. So please welcome Prime Minister Ardern to the stage. Nice round of applause.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Thank you for the invitation to join you today. It is an incredible pleasure to be here amongst such fine company. I want to begin today by acknowledging His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales and Sir David Attenborough in creating what is becoming akin to the Nobel Prize for Innovation in Environmentalism. I'm also humbled to have been asked to speak on behalf of Prince William, who will instead join us virtually today. I am an exceptionally poor substitute, but I also know we all understand the need for His Royal Highness to be with his family at this time. As I was preparing my remarks today, I couldn't help reflect on Her late Majesty the Queen. She is someone who was focused, committed, and demonstrated what could be achieved when you show fortitude and longevity. We need all those same characteristics to take on the environmental challenges ahead of us. But we're also at a crossroads in this difficult journey, where it won't just take our global collective will to create the scale of change required to turn around our environmental trajectory. It will also take innovation. The speed we need to move demands it. Innovation will also help us overcome some of the potential inequalities that may be a byproduct of rapid change. After all, innovation can be a great leveler as well as a source of advancement. And to help encourage and support such innovation is the Earthshot Prize. The Earthshot Prize, those who have won it, those who have been finalists, and those who aspire to be, all remind us of what is possible when we turn our minds to combating climate change, air pollution, protecting and restoring nature and oceans, and building a waste-free world. You give us hope. But hope is nothing without action. It has been an incredibly energizing experience to see the projects that are being supported, the growing of coral on land to replant in oceans, giving new life to dying ecosystems, new technology that turns renewable electricity into emission-free hydrogen gas, fueling cars, planes, powering industry and heating homes, farm waste converted into sellable byproducts like fuel and fertilizer. But it's not enough to simply allow you to plow through these difficult fields alone. While my message today is one of gratitude and encouragement, I also acknowledge that you cannot succeed in isolation. As governments, we have a responsibility to create the incentives and the space for you to flourish, a receptive environment for change, and the accountability that comes with guardianship. In many nations, the foundation for this approach has been laid for us long ago if we choose to listen. Where I come from, Aotearoa, New Zealand, a beautiful place you must visit, our Indigenous people hold a worldview that every single living and non-living thing is connected. Our people, our plants, our animals, descendants of Ranganui, the Sky Father, and Papatuanuku, the Earth Mother, and their children. And so it follows that people and nature are kin, are family. And we must care for one another in the spirit of kaitiakitanga, which translates into guardianship by the people of the land for the next generation. In short, ko ahau te taiao, ko te taiao ko ahau. I am the environment, and the environment is me. Our life source, our economy, our future. Now, I've seen this in action firsthand many times, not least in my own backyard, the Pacific, where the ocean is a source of protein, income, culture, and connection. And now it is a source of challenge as it rises up and begins to inundate small island nations. It can be confronting to hear and see the stories of just how real these challenges are, but none of us are here because we have given up, but because we believe there is a way to change the future. The Earthshot Prize is part of that. It renews our faith in our abilities to protect, preserve, and enhance our natural world. Through the power of human ingenuity, we can harness ideas to address climate change, stop biodiversity collapse, halt further degradation to our environment, and through the investments of those who seek to follow this common cause, governments, industry, Indigenous peoples, collectives, civil society, we can do that even more quickly. But I'm here first and foremost today as a New Zealander, a Kiwi. We care deeply about our environment. We are by no means perfect, and our journey continues. But we have in recent years established a goal in law to limit warming to no more than 1.5 degrees, ended the use of certain non-recyclable waste products, banned new offshore oil and gas exploration, set ourselves the goal of 100% renewable electricity generation by 2030, and committed to becoming the first country in the world to price agricultural emissions so that we now know our food is not just the best in the world, but the best for the world too. But all of this requires innovation, and that's also why we have, for instance, created research and development tax credits, established the New Zealand Agricultural Greenhouse Gas Research Centre and the Sustainable Food and Fibre Fund. This fund has, for example, supported trials and research into a range of farm practices, including working with the likes of Silver Fern Farms, who are helping individual farmers understand their carbon footprint. The information they've gathered has helped establish and verify a market proposition for low and zero carbon beef from New Zealand. Now, I know we think often of our challenges, but imagine for a moment what can be achieved by channeling our potential. A world run on green energy, producing food sustainably, better jobs, higher wages and skilled professions. A generation that for the first time in centuries witnesses a growing and thriving natural world. It's worth our energy, our investment, our commitment. And none of it needs to happen alone. The Sustainable Development Goals sit at the centre of the United Nations 3 pillars of sustainable development: economic, social and environmental. Together, they serve as the unifying platform for intergovernmental action to address the crises we face. And they help us to reach beyond boundaries. I know that we're close to agreeing on an international treaty to protect biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction and to develop a global biodiversity framework. In this work, we can afford to be nothing less than ambitious. While political action is essential to achieving sustainable development goals, civil society and the private sector have an equally important role to play, especially in generating innovative approaches. The Earthshot finalists today, you embody that. And so I start where I began, by acknowledging and conclude by acknowledging you all, but also by reminding those that have the power and the levers to continue to create the environment for change we so desperately need. We cannot expect environmental innovation to happen in a vacuum, nor for good ideas to create change if they're not supported to flourish. We can all and should marvel at the ideas we see here today, but let us also remember that we have a role in helping pave the way for them as kaitiaki, guardians, because our children expect nothing less. It's now my pleasure to end this period of poor substitution by handing over, and it's my privilege to do so, to His Royal Highness, Prince William.
Good morning, everyone. Although it is the saddest of circumstances that means I cannot join you in person today, I am pleased to be able to join you in video form as you gather in New York for the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit. Thank you to Jacinda and Mike for their very generous words. I'm very grateful to the whole team at Bloomberg for hosting you all. During this time of grief, I take great comfort in your continued enthusiasm, optimism, and commitment to the Earthshot Prize and what we are trying to achieve. Protecting the environment was a cause close to my grandmother's heart, and I know she would have been delighted to hear about this event and the support you're all giving our Earthshot finalists, the next generation of environmental pioneers. Together in this room are the people and organizations who will help us to achieve the Earthshot mission, to repair, restore, and rejuvenate our planet within this current decade. That mission is not simple. Just as President John F. Kennedy so famously said, as he challenged the United States of America to unite behind the goal of putting man on the moon, we choose to do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. I know that the world is an uncertain place right now, that many families and communities across the globe are facing unimaginable challenges, from conflict to energy crisis and food shortages. While addressing these in the short term, we must also remain resolutely focused on tackling the greatest challenges that threaten our tomorrow. Because if we don't, the changing climate will only serve to entrench these immediate challenges into fundamental global issues, severely impacting the lives of each and every one of us. That is why our collective mission is so urgent. But there is huge reason to be optimistic. The 2021 cohort of Earthshot winners and finalists is evidence that we can succeed, that we can protect our world for our children, our grandchildren, and the generations that will follow them. These pioneers exemplify the leadership needed in this decade of change. They include inspiring activists, brilliant innovators, a forward-thinking city, and even an entire country making a real difference. But they cannot do it alone. This must be a team effort. We must come together behind their innovative solutions to ensure they reach their full potential with pace and scale. We must collaborate in new ways, and we must be courageous. And as the Moonshot inspired a great decade of technological transformation, our Earthshot decade must inspire action, creativity, and collaboration around the globe. Together, we need to ensure the transition to sustainable solutions is the fastest and most endemic change the world has ever known. I know that by discovering, awarding, celebrating, and scaling solutions that repair and regenerate our planet, we can inspire that urgent action. So today, as you hear the incredible stories of last year's finalists, I invite each of you to join me on this journey, because this is just the start. In a few weeks' time, we will unveil our 2022 finalists before we take the next step in our mission and head to Boston to announce the second annual cohort of Earthshot Prize winners. I can think of no better home for the Earthshot Prize in its second year than the birthplace of President John F. Kennedy, from whom we have taken so much inspiration. I'm delighted that his daughter, Ambassador Caroline Kennedy, is with you at the summit today. Both Catherine and I are so excited to be coming to Boston in December, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you.
Please welcome member of the Earthshot Prize Council, Hindu Umaru Ibrahim.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here today to start just talking about the restoration of the nature. We all know the nature is not a monument, a car, or a painting we need to restore. As humans, we can fix the car. We can rebuild the monument because we have built it and we engineer it. But nature created us, invented us. So how can it be possible to fix something that we don't even understand perfectly? Nature is complex, and we haven't discovered yet or explored all the species, and we have only a small comprehension of the interaction between the elements of any ecosystem. And often, man don't understand something, so he don't care about destroying it. That's what is happening. So to repair the damage we have done to her, we have to understand we are not only part of the nature, but we are nature. Nature is living element. For indigenous people, nature is whole. Our planet is alive. The rivers are her blood. The trees are her hair. The soil, her skin. The wind, her breeze. And indigenous peoples, our planet, they know they are the doctor. We are protecting 80% of the world's biodiversity because our way of life do not harm nature. At the opposite, we strengthen ecosystems. We improve biodiversity by cooperating with the birds and trees, listening to the winds, observing the cloud, learning from even the little insect. We protect nature by setting up our own limits. We don't take more that Mother Earth can give, and we give back. We protect the sacred trees. We don't destroy field of the medicinal plants. We choose preciously the animal that we can kill just to keep the balance of the ecosystem. In this session, you will meet a generation of people committed to become the doctors of the nature, the nurses of the Mother Earth, people that are fast learning, and that we indigenous peoples who have the PhDs in protection of nature will welcome them in our communities to come and do the internship. Then maybe they can become the great doctors of our Pachamama. It is the most amazing job in the planet. Even it is not a job. It is a way of life. So, with the blessing of the elder generation that come before me, and the hopes of the generation that will come after me, I am very pleased to welcome them. Thank you.
I'm Kate Blanchett, a founding partner of the Earthshot Prize Council. Today, the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit, in partnership with Mike Bloomberg and Bloomberg Philanthropies, will ask each and every one of us what we can do to accelerate progress to repair our planet this decade, and offer solutions on how to collaborate to drive this ambitious but essential climate agenda. We will continue to drive impact around system-changing climate solutions and amplify the Earthshot Prize's call to accelerate progress to repair our planet through collaboration and innovation. But most importantly, we will remind ourselves what can be achieved when we turn pessimism to optimism and optimism into action. Repairing and preserving the habitats that animals need to live, from rainforests and grasslands to wetlands, lakes and rivers, will ultimately protect all of us. In Costa Rica, people are paid to preserve their land, and experts advise on how to sustainably manage and generate an income from it. Now, the country's forest cover has doubled, and ecotourism has boosted the economy. An initiative in Switzerland called Restore works like Google Maps for nature, using huge amounts of scientific data that can help users to rewild any terrestrial location on Earth. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, gorillas were often hunted by the local population and turned into bushmeat. To combat that, the Pole Pole Foundation is teaching families how to produce cheap, plant-based superfoods. Now, malnutrition rates are declining, and the local gorilla population is on the rise. The effort to protect and restore nature involves us all, and is essential if we are to ensure a fair and equal future for all life on Earth.
Please welcome Chief Sustainability Officer of Google, Kate Brandt, CEO of Restore and finalist of the Earthshot Prize, Clara Rowe, and our moderator, Chair of the Earthshot Prize, Cristiana Figueres.
Well, so ladies, how exciting is it that we have now learned from Prime Minister Arden that we could be the first generation, and I'm including myself in that generation just for your information, that will witness a growing and thriving natural world. Is that possible? I think is the question to be discussed here. Because I think we have two challenges to that. The first is speed and scale. We know that we are running out of time, and we know that we have to have both speed and scale in order to get to where we need to get over this critical decade. But the second, and somewhat, I would say, newer challenge has to do with the accusations that are coming from many different quarters of greenwashing, putting out information, commitments, pledges that are then not backed up by action. So the combination, actually, of the potential that nature has, but also the technology to be able to get us to speed and scale and to transparency in the monitoring and the accounting is absolutely critical. So that's the conversation that I would invite you into. Kate, can we start with you? Because there are a few companies that I think can contribute to scale and speed as Google, and would love to just briefly hear from you on internal operations of Google and why you have really decided that you're going to go to speed and scale in your climate commitments.
Absolutely, and such an honor to be here with you both and to have this conversation today. So you mentioned our operations. At Google, sustainability has been in our DNA from the start. We've been focused on this going back to our founding. And we think about this through a few dimensions. First is we need to lead by example in our own operations and our value chain. So we're committed to net zero operations and value chain by 2030. And a piece of that is 24/7 carbon-free energy, which we believe has to be the future of the grid. That's so crucial to reaching net zero for everyone. And we're on our way there, working in partnership, driving technology innovation from different new solutions around enhanced geothermal, battery storage, all that we need to get the grid to 24/7 carbon-free energy. But also, we see some other big opportunities. We have products that billions of people use every day. You may have even used Google Maps to get here this morning. And we want to, by the end of this year, enable people to take action, and that's 1 billion new sustainable actions by the end of this year. And we're doing that through tools just like Google Maps, where you may have seen in the US or across 40 countries in Europe, now the default is the most fuel-efficient route. And we're seeing this is huge for people right now. Fuel prices are at all-time highs. We can save them dollars at the pump. But also, just since October, we've been able to take the equivalent of 100,000 fuel-based cars off the road just through the simple and easy change that we've made in the product. And then the last area we're really passionate about, and this is where our partnership has come in with Restore, is providing planetary scale data and solutions that can be a source of transparency and a source of action. So we'll talk about that more, but that's another area where we see tremendous opportunity.
So Clara, what is the potential? What is the potential of nature to help us get to where we want to on both biodiversity and climate?
Enormous. It is the protection, the conservation, the restoration. It's key to pillars of climate, to biodiversity protection, to livelihoods. And to throw out a few numbers, forest restoration alone has the potential to improve food security for over 1 billion people, if done right, to prevent up to 60% of expected species extinctions, and to draw down about 30% of carbon that is accumulated in the atmosphere since the Industrial Revolution. So if we can get it right, speed, scale, and I will add to that quality. Yes, but absolutely, of course. Transparency is a piece of that. But we need to scale, and we need to scale well. And so that's what Restore is working on ultimately.
But tell us a little bit about the project, which happens to be in my favorite home country, but tell us a little bit about that.
So Restore is a digital platform, and we are bringing together nature restoration and conservation projects from all over the world. So in the last year, we've brought together about 125,000 different projects. That's 125,000 different places where someone or many people are coming together to protect or restore nature. And that can be agroforestry. You know, we have cooperatives in Honduras who are bringing trees into the agricultural landscape. That can be large interventions that are planting trees or simply fencing off areas and letting them regrow. And so that community that we're building on Restore, it's about transparency because we're mapping each of these initiatives and we're able to show impact. But it's also about learning, and learning is a part of scale. And once we have each of these dots on the map, we know that the experiences of each of these projects can be shared among one another, and we can therefore get to impact faster, and we can make sure that things are happening well and invite more to join.
So from the point of view of Google, because you're basically providing the services for this to happen, Kate, do you see this as a one-off? Do you see this as the beginning of a whole new chapter of technological innovation that allows us to restore nature, to keep track of how we're doing, and to go to speed and scale?
I think this is a huge opportunity. And when we connected with Clara and Tom and the team a couple of years ago, we started talking about Google Earth Engine, which is our planetary map that we've developed that enables us to see the entire Earth's surface through satellite imagery, through cloud computing. And we want this to be a platform for action. So we were so excited when Clara and the team wanted to build their technology on top of our platform. And we're doing this in many other ways too. And we also look at companies that are trying to set targets. Unilever has a zero deforestation target, and they came to us and they said, we're having a really hard time getting that visibility up into our supply chain to really understand what's happening with palm oil. And so they're using this platform to gain that transparency, to gain those insights so they can achieve their targets. So whether it's building platforms like Restore, whether it's companies achieving their targets, gaining greater transparency, that's what we want to be, is that platform for action.
So quick question for both of you. Fast forward, it is now 2030. What has Restore done? What has Google done?
Who gets to go first? In 2030, we imagine millions and millions of projects on Restore, and not just places on Earth where we see nature being brought back, but all of the other nodes that are key to ensuring success. So the technology providers, the nurseries, the seed banks, the funders, the government incentive programs, so that we have an ecosystem that really allows us to leverage the many, many connections within the nature-based solution space.
And in 2030, we have been focused on another key area, which is cities. And cities require data and insights to take action on climate and to preserve nature, to create more nature and tree canopy. So we've set a goal that we want to...
Create more nature in cities.
In cities, exactly. Exactly right. So we've been partnering with cities like Los Angeles to give them insights utilizing AI and geomapping on where are all the places that you can create more tree canopy, which reduces urban heat islands, improves air quality, sequesters carbon. So we want to bring data and solutions to bringing nature into cities, as well as, of course, preserving and restoring nature. And so one of the goals that we've set is we want to enable over 500 cities around the world. I know we're going to hear from the mayor of Paris after this, to reduce a gigaton of carbon emissions by 2030. And so that's through data, tools, insights, whether that's evolving transportation systems or planting new tree canopy. So that's a big, bold target that we want to see achieved by 2030.
So it's a very interesting vision, but because what technology is allowing us is to cut that division, to bring down the wall that used to exist, because I'm already living in 2030, by the way, that used to exist between where nature should be, according to our very limited imagination, and where actually nature is, which is everywhere that humans are. And to really see how, as you have said, how you flip the narrative of what nature can do for the quality of life that we have. Ladies, thank you very much. Thank you for the work that you're doing right now. Thank you for the work that you will continue to do. I look forward to seeing you in 2030.
Hopefully before.
Yes.
Please welcome Mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm very pleased to be here with you today, all of you working to preserve our environment, our air, and our resources. I would like to thank the Earthshot Prize and Bloomberg Philanthropies, and especially Mike Bloomberg. Dear Mike, thank you, all the mayor today, thank you, dear Mike. But also Prince William and Cristina Figueres. Querida Cristina, gracias también. Thank you for their invitations. Air quality is a life issue. Air pollution is responsible for 300,000 deaths per year in the European Union. In France, 3 out of 4 children breathe dirty air, which has harmful and long-lasting effect on their health. Who can agree with that? In November 2021, last year, UNICEF released its report on social injustice and air quality. It was an alarm signal. Action was necessary. In dense cities such as Paris, my very beautiful city, but very dense city, the sources of air pollution emissions are many, but road traffic remains a major polluter. Solutions are available, and we know them. We are optimistic of them. We may have to scale them up and convince citizens, but also business leaders and stakeholders and journalists also. But we mayors can do it. We continue to take action to develop low emission zones and alternatives in the way we move. We like walking or biking. Some European cities are implementing great solutions. Bicycle lanes in Amsterdam and Copenhagen, and now in Paris. The banning of diesel and thermal cars from city center, as it has been done in Tokyo, not in Europe, in Tokyo, since 1997, and in London too, and in my city, just after the Olympics in 2024. But these actions are not enough. We need global, radical action on a larger scale. Today, the European Union is addressing this health-critical issue. Last June, it voted to ban the sale of thermal vehicles in 2035, and I'm very pleased about it. It was urgent. Europe prepares now a crucial text, the Euro 7 standards. These rules are to restrict emissions of new pollutants from thermal vehicles, cars, vans, trucks, buses, by incorporating them into the regulated area. For me, Europe must not miss this opportunity, because our health is at stake. We need to be clear, ambitious, and set a precise timetable. Europe must not give into the games of lobbies and private interest. Innovative companies have the means to respond to this imperative. Let us challenge them. This is why, together with other European mayors and the Eurocities and Europolis network of cities, we are calling on Brussels to propose an ambitious Euro 7 standard. This standard needs to protect the most vulnerable people, especially children. It needs to be in line with the 2035 deadline for the end of thermal vehicles. I need to take into account all harmful emissions, including ultra-fine and braking particles. All these elements are already set in the WHO recommendations, but not fully reflected in the European standards today. You can count on me and other mayors to be the voice of the big cities, fully aware of the challenge and firmly committed. And I hope we can count on you, the laureates of this very beautiful prize, and all innovators of the coming generation to tackle this urgent challenge. Only together will we ensure that our children, our elder people, and our fellow citizens have clean air by 2030. Thank you so much.
Clean, healthy air is essential to life on our planet. In India, the Takashar machine uses a low oxygen burning technique to safely convert agricultural waste into fertilizer and fuel. The device is already improving local air quality. In recent years, the air quality in Beijing, China, is being transformed by an inspirational new app. Using emissions data from thousands of factories, Blue Map app allows users to easily see which streets have clean or dirty air and report the worst polluters. A 15-year-old designer from India, Venetia Umashankar, is tackling fossil fuel pollution in her city. She created a solar-powered ironing cart, which could eventually help the 10 million ironing vendors in India move away from using charcoal. Ingenious solutions like these mean that clean air and healthy lives are within reach for all of us.
Please welcome co-founder and CEO of Takachar and winner of the Earthshot Prize, Vidyut Mohan, in conversation with environmental lead at Bloomberg Philanthropies, Antha Williams.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much to everyone here and to you, Vidyut. I'm excited for this conversation with you as the winner of the Earthshot Prize for Clean Our Air. Clean air is an issue that's very close to our hearts at Bloomberg Philanthropies. And Mike Bloomberg, as three-term mayor of New York, one of his proudest accomplishments was getting the air in New York City to its cleanest level in 50 years. And as a result of those measures and others, people here in the city live on average 3 years longer at the end of his term than they did at the beginning. So those are the kind of statistics that we have to look at in our work, and it's part of what makes your work at Takachar so exciting. So first question for you is really tell us about your company. You're a founder, you're a CEO and engineer. Tell us about Takachar and what you do.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor. So let me start by just trying to place myself in the shoes of a farmer. So imagine I'm a rice farmer. I'm growing rice, and it's time for harvest. And I've harvested my crop, but I'm left behind with 3 tons of rice straw per acre that I don't know what I want to do with it. I can't sell it off as cattle feed. There's the nearest power plant is hundreds of kilometers away, and it's too costly to transport this voluminous material over such a long distance. So what do? I just take a matchstick and set the agricultural waste on fire. And when millions of farmers do this together, that creates a horrible smog situation, not only in northern India, where I live, but all over the world. And statistics say that worldwide, close to about 400 million tons per year of agricultural and forest waste just gets burnt in the open, which is such a big missed opportunity, because not only is that worth about $120 billion, the value of which could be shared among those farmers and rural communities, but it's also a missed opportunity in terms of capturing those carbon emissions and sequestering that. So we at Takachar are essentially trying to address this problem by building small-scale, low-cost, portable equipment that farmers can just latch onto the tractor, take it to their farm, and process their waste and create value, and create carbon-negative fertilizers, fuel, and other carbon-based precursor materials for other specialty chemicals. And what it does is it helps create value for the farmers, it helps create income and livelihood opportunities for them, and also at the same time, it helps prevent air pollution. So we are able to prevent about 95% of smoke emissions versus the open burning of waste. But we are also able to sequester those carbon emissions by taking the locked carbon in those agricultural wastes and sequestering that in the soil through some of our products like fertilizers.
That's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Tell us about what life has been like since you won the Earthshot Prize, and what Takachar is up to now and what's next.
It's been very busy. And I think the Earthshot Prize really helped catalyze a lot of key partnerships and collaborations over the past few months. So we've been speaking to a lot of state governments within India and also here in the US and in Canada in the Pacific Northwest, where we're working with indigenous communities there to set up our equipment and process forestry residues that lead to forest fires and also create local jobs there. So it has led to connections within the government and catalyzing deployments of our equipment there, and also partnerships with various corporations who can play a role in being an offtake buyer of the output from the machine, and farmers can operate our machine and sell that output to them, and create a more sustainable value chain.
That's great. Well, congratulations on that incredible work. It sounds like the next step is really scaling it up across India and beyond. So congratulations. Thank you very much. And I'd like to encourage a round of applause for Vijit. Congratulations.
Please welcome 2022 National Youth Poet Laureate, Alyssa Gaines.
Imagine a summer without stars anywhere. All of us covered in darkness only. Imagine the fall, each one less new than the last. Imagine when we forget what leaves smell like. Every August calling back only to the one before it until it forgets its own name. Imagine angry days, numbering themselves and throwing themselves toward nothingness, in which we are all forgotten towers, blushing in the brightness of people hiding from the heat, and sad nights, self-conscious of their small stain on time, streetlights blushing in the emptiness of dusk, and forests caving in to fill themselves with something. But imagine cicadas, walls of them surrounding every summer like it should be, chucking themselves blindly at every outbound windshield, shaking songs at every stranger. Imagine ocean, but imagine land. Imagine this earth, heavy and full, trees teeming with sound and motion, ground trembling with life, and everything that can bring itself back from dirt. Imagine people unburying themselves, revealing themselves in clear air breath, fluttering around in new form. And remember, all the life you hold in your two hands, life you will offer back to the earth when you answer its long call. And imagine that then your words will become stars. Your actions will resurrect into the space between them, and learn that you are our legacy, unearthed in the land that we leave behind.
Please welcome member of the Earthshot Prize Council, Her Majesty Queen Rania Al Abdullah.
It's such a pleasure to be here at the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit with the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly as a backdrop. I want to thank the Prince of Wales for his leadership and vision, which he is always committed to seeing through, much like his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, who was a passionate advocate for combating climate change. She set the bar incredibly high with her deep sense of duty and resilience. May she rest in eternal peace. I would also like to thank Michael Bloomberg, who has done so much in the fight against climate change, And as all of us know in this fight, no one can afford to sit on the sidelines. No one can claim that climate change is somebody else's problem or shrug it off for future generations to address. We're all affected by a warming planet. We see that every day. And decisions being made right now will determine our shared tomorrow. So we must choose, and we must act as united nations ourselves. Our progress depends on collective action, on collective ingenuity. If we stick together, we can make fixing the climate the greatest project and greatest achievement of our lifetimes. We have the science, we have the solutions. Now all the world needs is political will. Together, we can create a future where rampant carbon is removed from the atmosphere, where green buildings and green business transform the livability of communities, where easy access to renewable energy enables greater equity, where sustainable agriculture feeds a growing global population. The needs are urgent, and the costs of inaction are worse than any nightmare. But let us be driven by hope, not fear, by optimism, not despair. Because hope is not passive. Hope is the ultimate source of renewable energy, pushing us forward every day to try and try again. Achieving carbon neutrality can be a journey of innovation, fueled by a spirit of possibility, driven by faith in ourselves. You'll see what I mean when you meet the 2021 finalists for the Fix Our Climate Earthshot Prize. These inspiring climate champions are developing bold solutions, scalable solutions, that will make real progress in the fight against carbon in our atmosphere. They are pushing us forward towards a future where everyone can thrive. Now, let's take a look at one of the talented 2021 finalists who is working to fix our climate. Thank you.
Almost everything we do has a carbon footprint. That carbon dioxide is already making our planet warmer, threatening all life on Earth. We need as many exceptional solutions as possible right now to fix our climate. In Germany, innovators are focusing on hydrogen as an alternative to fossil fuels. Enapter provides low-cost, high-quality hydrogen in a small electrolyzer which can make a single home energy independent. In Bangladesh, SoulShare is enabling communities to produce and share solar power by interconnecting households. Now, neighbours can buy and sell energy with each other in tiny, affordable amounts. An innovative scheme in Nigeria called REDI allows people to rent cheap, powerful solar-charged batteries, providing clean, portable and reliable energy to homes and businesses and reducing dependence on dirty diesel generators. Tech solutions like these, along with those provided by nature, are essential in humanity's challenge to stabilize our climate.
Please welcome co-founder of Enapter and winner of the Earthshot Prize, Vaitea Cohen.
We're going back to middle school, to chemistry class. Do you remember this? We split water by passing current through it. Well, what if I told you that the experiment we witnessed then is a key to tackling climate change? Yes, at 14 years old, we already knew. And today, we have the means to make green hydrogen a fuel source of the future. This experiment is called water electrolysis. And the device creating this experiment at a commercial scale is called an electrolyzer. And powered by green electricity, an electrolyzer produces green hydrogen by splitting water, H2O, into H and O. Green hydrogen is a carbon-free fuel that can replace fossil fuels. So why do we need green hydrogen? It's because when we look at our world's energy consumption today, only 20% is met in the form of electricity. And this means that the remaining 80% of our world's energy use is coming from molecules. And while the world is making rapid progress in greening our electricity, we need to look towards our molecules as well. Think about your industry, heating and cooling and transport sectors. They are all powered by molecules. And yes, this means largely by fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas. And we won't be able to electrify all of our sectors. And here's why. Let's take an example from the industrial sector. To make steel the old way, we first mine iron ore, then burn coal to remove oxygen from the iron mix. Electrons can't do that. But what they can do is power the device producing green hydrogen. And this clean molecule will create the reaction that gets rid of the oxygen. And by changing the process, we can reduce our CO2 emissions by up to 95% for this process. And today, major European steel manufacturers are already building green hydrogen-based steel production processes. The world is turning to green hydrogen because it is effectively coupling those hard-to-decarbonize sectors with green electricity. Green hydrogen is an extremely versatile energy carrier that can be used in a wide range of applications, and we're seeing this firsthand with our customers. Some are building hydrogen planes that fly emission-free, and they're producing their green hydrogen on-site at the airport. Others are turning green hydrogen into hydrogen-derived fuels like green ammonia or green methanol, which can be used to power global shipping. And some are storing green hydrogen across seasons and powering remote communities like this one in Malaysia. So you might be wondering, well, why aren't we using green hydrogen everywhere already? And so previously, the reason was the cost of green electricity. But that's no longer the bottleneck. So what is the challenge? It's the speed, scale, and cost of making these green hydrogen generators. Well, that's exactly what we are working on. Because to make green hydrogen the fuel source of the future, it needs to be cheaper than fossil fuels. And that means electrolyzers are going to need to be really, really cheap. We started Enapter in 2017 with this one goal in mind and urgency in our hearts. And so we chose a means that is a bit different from how others in the industry proceed. We turned to economic history and looked for solutions that scaled fast and reduced costs significantly. And the answer was clear. If you want to take a solution around the globe as quickly as possible, you need to make it a standardized, mass-produced commodity, a product that is easy to make and quick to build, and cheap as well. And so, while some believe electrolyzers need to be large machines, we believe the electrolyzer should be a standardized, mass-producible product that can make green hydrogen anywhere for anyone. So to better understand our approach, let me draw an analogy. Up until the 80s, mainframe computers were the future of computing. But they took up a whole room, they were quite complex equipments, and they were designed for businesses only. Then came the PC. And at first, people laughed and wondered, why would we ever need such a tiny computer? But ultimately, it disrupted the industry. And today, data centers, they're made of blade servers, which is PC technology, not mainframes. Why? Because the PC became a standardized, mass-produced commodity, one that was easy to make, cheap to build, and that could be deployed in any kinds of environment. Now, it's time to do this with green hydrogen. At the heart of our electrolyzer is an electrolysis core, creating green hydrogen. And it is the foundation for all of our systems. And we're taking these core stacks and other components of our electrolyzers into mass production. And by avoiding the use of expensive materials in our designs, we're slashing costs significantly. The next step is going into mass production. But before that, let me show you how others are building larger machines and how we are building compact ones that can be combined to achieving any hydrogen quantities needed. And this is the next step. Going into mass production and starting with the first electrolyzers being produced in early 2023 in our Enapter campus in Germany. And it'll be fully powered by renewable electricity, locally produced. And this is where we'll be tackling speed, scale, and cost. Because by focusing on one single core size system, we can leverage massive economies of scale and drop down the price of green hydrogen. Because this is what it is all about, making green hydrogen cheaper than fossil fuels. We have the means to make green hydrogen the fuel source of the future. It's time to listen to our 14-year-old selves and the 14-year-olds of today. Our generation has a unique opportunity. It's time for the next industrial revolution. We can turn our world's energy supplies into a sustainable one made possible by a lot of green electricity and a wave of green hydrogen molecules. This is how we end the fossil fuel era. Thank you.
In nature, what is waste for one is food for another. To live in a waste-free world, we need to build something similar. And we can do this by eliminating food waste and single-use packaging, whilst inspiring a new generation to reuse and recycle. In Milan, 3 food waste hubs recover unused food from supermarkets and businesses and distribute it to the neediest citizens. The food that ends up on plates instead of in the trash equals more than 260,000 meals a year. In Nairobi, a company called Sanogi offers a clean and cost-effective way to process organic waste. Here, sanitation waste is safely removed, converted to fertilizer, and sold to local farmers. A Japanese startup called Wota creates a mini water treatment plant, turning more than 98% of water waste into clean, fresh water. Initiatives like these can be replicated in cities and countries all around the world. They create a system where the leftovers of one process become the raw materials of the next, just like they do in nature.
Please welcome back Michael Bloomberg.
You know, sometimes the most effective solutions to fighting climate change are the most obvious, like turning leftovers of one process into raw materials for the next. And videos like this show us that we can invest in and scale solutions to build a waste-free world.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's all this about a waste-free world, huh? Why would anyone want that? I want to build a wasteful world. Yeah. I mean, waste is my love language.
Oh, hi, Oscar. Everyone, this is Oscar the Grouch. Now,
Oscar... I usually want booze.
Oh, well, that's okay, Oscar. I know you love trash, but waste is different. Waste harms the planet and the people most affected by climate change. And that's why we want to build to do something. Nothing goes to waste, and take care of the earth in the process. You know, it's just like your friends on Sesame Street teaching children how to be kind to the earth. I'm sure even you can get behind that.
Behind it? Mike, when it comes to kindness, I like to be about as far behind it as I can get. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'm in the wrong place. I came here to invite all of you to the Grouch Convention, but it turns out you're all about my least favorite thing, helping. Oh.
You've got me, Oscar. I do like helping people learn how to reuse, repurpose, and recycle. Together, everyone in this room can build a world where nothing goes to waste. And that includes even you.
Me? Sorry, Mike, I gotta get going to that convention, but just between us.
Yes?
I do have a recycling bin right next to my can. But don't let that get out, okay? It'll ruin my image. Ugh. And if you ever change your mind and want to learn how to be a grouch, come on over to Sesame Street. I'll give you a lesson or two.
Keith, thanks, Asta. That sounds great. How about we make a deal? You give up your dream of a wasteful world and help more kids learn about saving our planet. And I'll come down to Sesame Street.
Oh, all right. Say, you're a pretty good negotiator. If this saving the planet thing doesn't work out for you, maybe you should think about a career in politics.
You know, Oscar, I'm out of that business now. Maybe I'd get back in if I could run for mayor of Sesame Street, but only if you endorse me. Tell all your friends at Sesame Workshop to keep up the good work.
All right. Well, bye, Mike. Bye, all you horribly nice people out there. Have a rotten day.
And now it's time for me to turn this over to someone who isn't quite as grouchy as Oscar. But he's doing great work mobilizing people to act on climate change. He has been a close partner for our foundation and a strong voice in the fight against coal-fired power plants. As someone who with roots in Louisiana, he's seen firsthand the devastation, the effects of climate change, and he knows how much work we have ahead of us. So please welcome the President and CEO of the Hip Hop Caucus, Reverend Lennox Yearwood Jr., or as he's known to many of us, Rev. Rev, the floor is yours.
Man, I gotta tell you, I never really came out before a mayor and Oscar, so that's pretty amazing. I can live on that alone. Thank you so much to Mike Bloomberg, and thank you, Oscar, for talking about waste. That's an important moment because too many people in our world feel like they are disposable. And so we know that nothing should go to waste, especially people and also food. And that's why we're here today, because the city of Milan has created waste-free food hubs throughout the city, and they are the Earshot winner for this year. Please give the city of Milan, the waste-free hubs, a loud round of applause. Post the pandemic, this is a serious issue. No one, and I mean no one, on our planet should go to bed hungry. No one across this amazing planet of ours should go to bed thinking they won't know where their next meal comes from. That's the amazing part what the city of Milan with their waste-free hubs are doing. They have made a goal back in 2019 to have the waste food that's just going to waste by 2030. That's amazing. They are literally creating meals by saving food that can go to communities. For so many times right here in America, we've had something called food deserts. And food deserts, which is really not a right term, because honestly, deserts are natural. And so food scarcity places are places where people can't get a good meal. They don't have supermarkets. They can't get food for their community. We've seen that, and that causes so many health problems. It causes diabetes. It causes concerns in cancer. It causes those communities to suffer. So if we can do what the city of Milan is doing, and cities across this globe, and create places where we can save food and connect the dots to climate, because that is a driving force, because we won't have food if we continue to have droughts and wildfires. That is one of the contributors to the problem that is going on with food scarcity. So if we can be in a position to do what the city of Milan does, it would be amazing. Let me actually share a story, because obviously I'm president of the Hip Hop Caucus, but I'm also, as you can tell, a reverend too. And so I want to share this as I close. One of the most amazing things is that no matter whatever religious background or faith, or whatever faith you may have, is that there's this thing called the Bible. And one of the things about that is that in that it's an amazing story that there's called the Gospels. And in that, there's only one story that appears in every single gospel. And that's when Jesus feeds the 5,000. It's the only story that appears in all of the Gospels. To let you know how important, even back then, the most important miracle was feeding the people. Let us still be in a place where we are doing a miracle today by feeding the people. We can do it. Humanity can save the world. Thank you so much.
Please welcome actor and activist and chairman of the board of Oceana, Sam Waterston.
I'm honored and excited to be here with all of you as we celebrate some truly innovative and inspirational climate leaders as part of the Earthshot Prize. You are all here providing us with groundbreaking solutions because you understand that's what's needed now. Thank you for all that you do. I'd like to give you a round of applause. It's my privilege and honor to introduce a true leader in ocean conservation. As the Chief Executive Officer of Bloomberg Philanthropies, she has been a guiding light in the way that the Foundation has supported policy change for ocean conservation around the world. I can speak personally about what she has done for Oceana, the group that I chair. I am sure that others here could say similar things. For the last 8 years, Bloomberg Philanthropies, under her leadership, has been not only Oceana's funder, but also our thought partner to increase our impact and effectiveness. She helped us fundamentally change our approach to be more people-oriented. Along with protecting and restoring habitat and biodiversity, we also have been protecting livelihoods and food for vulnerable people. She has helped us understand how the oceans can be part of the solutions to climate change. She has been a leader in the 30 by 30 habitat protection movement, bringing together so many of us in this room to protect 30% of our oceans by 2030. Now more than ever, the oceans need and benefit from her leadership because our oceans are under threat. From overfishing and the killing of endangered species, to pollution from offshore drilling and unnecessary single-use plastics, innovation is critical to solving the myriad threats facing our seas. And she has made thoughtful innovation part of Bloomberg Philanthropies' DNA. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my dear friend, Patty Harris.
Thank you
you so much, Sam. Sam is an amazing partner with Bloomberg Philanthropies, and he's been a partner of ours for so many years. Sam has millions of fans out there, but I think the biggest are Bloomberg, given his leadership with Oceana, which was one of our very first partners when we started our work with Ocean in 2014. Today, we're excited to celebrate the spirit of partnership and strengthen global cooperation to make progress on the biggest climate challenges we face. The Earthshot Prize showcases incredible climate leaders, you've heard some of them already, and their work, and it's really energizing and inspiring to see so many innovative thinkers and doers together. Being here makes me more optimistic than ever about what we can accomplish. A few of us began our day sharing strategies with the Blue Leaders, led by the government of Belgium. This group of countries is doing extraordinary work, confronting the serious threats that climate change, pollution, and overfishing all continue to present to the world's ocean. Mike Bloomberg has made the environment, as you can tell, obviously, a critical focus of Bloomberg Philanthropies' work. So the Blue Leaders' efforts to protect and strengthen the ocean are truly inspiring. And through the Bloomberg Ocean Initiative, we're working hard to help them and other partners make an even bigger difference. We've had success bringing together conservation groups, local leaders, and national governments, and the initiative has made encouraging progress since its inception. We've ensured that more data on fishing activity is transparent and publicly available. We've helped pass important national laws that are preserving coral reefs and fisheries all around the world. And globally, our support has strengthened the protection of 11 million square miles of the ocean. That's nearly 3 times the size of the United States. But no question, we've got a lot more to do, and this work is more urgent than ever before. So today, I'm pleased to announce a major new investment in the exciting next phase of the Bloomberg Ocean Initiative. Over the next 4 years, Bloomberg Philanthropies will provide more than $200 million in new funding to help the world meet the global goal of protecting 30% of the ocean by 2030. Bloomberg Ocean Partners will continue to work with countries and communities to protect marine ecosystems that provide food and jobs to more than 1 billion people, strengthen coral conservation, and tackle the threats of overfishing and pollution. And because we can't do it alone, we'll spearhead efforts to attract even more public, private, and philanthropic support to join us and contribute funding and accelerate innovation like those from Earthshot winner Coral Vita and the finalist prize, Pristine Seas. This really is essential work because the health of the ocean is absolutely vital for the climate, for public health, for global economies, and now more than ever. And more international partners that unite, the faster we can take action and the more progress we can make. That's why today's Earthshot events that's what they're all about, and that's the message the Bloomberg team will be taking with us to COP27 this November. And with the $200 million expansion, we'll step up to bigger challenges, join with global leaders, and we'll continue to make a tremendous difference. We're very excited about this commitment, by the way. Now, earlier this morning, Mike Bloomberg spoke about the great fit between the Earthshot Prize and the entire Bloomberg network. Among our allies, we're also fortunate to have a global team of smart and passionate Earthshot Prize Council members. And we're pleased to share a message from one of them now. Here's award-winning actress and humanitarian Cate Blanchett.
Healthy oceans mean a healthy world, but they are under attack. Warmer temperatures, pollution, and harmful fishing are putting life underwater in jeopardy. But this decade, we can choose to revive our oceans and make them healthy. In the Bahamas, Coral Vita grows coral on land to replant in the ocean, giving new life to dying ecosystems. Their methods grow coral up to 50 times faster than in the wild and improves resilience of the impacts of climate change. Pristine Seas brings together an expert team of scientists, filmmakers, and policy experts. They have produced over 200 scientific publications and 30 documentary films to inspire others to action. Living Seawalls creates habitat panels that are fitted to standard seawalls. The panels mimic natural formations and are now home to 36% more marine species than standard flat seawalls. Our creativity and commitment on this front will allow our children to enjoy healthy, vibrant oceans for years to come.
Please welcome Pristine Seas founder, National Geographic Explorer in Residence, and finalist of the Earthshot Prize, Dr. Enrique Sala, in conversation with Senior Advisor at Oceana, Alexandra Cousteau.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming today. I was so excited when I was asked to sit on stage with you, Enrique. And I know that my grandfather was a huge inspiration for you growing up. We've talked about it so many times. And I was thinking about this one time that he was asked by journalists what made it possible for him to do all that he did in his life. And he said, in response to that question, it's that I live in my lucky moment in time. And it's true. You know, if he'd been born 20 years earlier, 20 years later, none of the innovations would have been possible. Television wouldn't have existed. And it was that moment where he was able to reach his potential to make his dreams come true, but also to inspire an entire generation around the world for our oceans. And like you, I've met people around the world who were inspired as children by my grandfather. And I feel like, having watched him as a child with his calls to action that largely fell on deaf ears, that this may be our lucky moment in time. The fact that we are all gathered here today having these conversations, celebrating these people, these solutions, these innovations, makes me believe that we have finally reached our lucky moment in time where we will be able to solve these problems. And I know you started in academia, and you gave it up, and you chose a different path. Can you tell me why?
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this with me today. I lost my moment in time because when I was a kid, I wanted to be a diver in Jacques Cousteau's boat, in the Calypso. But I was born too late for that. But thanks to the inspiration, I became a marine biologist. I was a professor at Scripps Institution of Oceanography in California. And my work was to study the impacts of humans in the ocean, the impacts of fishing, global warming, and one day, and publish it in scientific journals. And one day I realized that all I was doing was writing the obituary of the ocean. I felt like the doctor who's telling you how you're going to die with excruciating detail but not offering a cure. So that day I decided to quit, and I went to the National Geographic Society and proposed a partnership to help protect vital places in the ocean, combining their global reach and communications abilities with my research background. And that was in 2008 when I moved to Washington, D.C. and started Pristine Seas.
That was when we met. And you've done so much since then. And when you were imagining what Pristine Seas could be and what it could accomplish, what were the challenges that you were setting out to solve?
Well, we cannot overstate how important marine life is for our survival, right? Ocean life gives us more than half of the oxygen we breathe, food, livelihood for hundreds of millions of people. It captures much of the carbon pollution that we throw in the atmosphere. Until now, it helped to provide a stable climate. But we have been killing marine life like there is no tomorrow, taking fish out of the ocean faster than they can reproduce, making the ocean warmer and more acidic. So I thought, what's the solution? And we have two solutions here. One, we need to reduce carbon emissions, and the other one is we need to protect the nature that is our life support system. And what we need to not only protect what's left, but we need to restore, as we were talking about before. And we have learned that the best way to restore the ocean is let the ocean do it itself. And you have seen this, I have seen this, when we set aside areas, protected areas without fishing, without drilling, without mining, marine life comes back spectacularly. The abundance of fish increases on average 6 times inside these protected areas. So the ocean has this incredible ability to rebound, to bounce back, and we cannot replicate that. But there is more, because people say, well, we cannot protect more of the ocean because we have to feed more people, we have to fish more. Well, we reached peak fish 25 years ago. 90% of the large fish in the ocean, tuna, sharks, cod, groupers, are gone. We ate them. And in these protected areas, the fish grow much larger, they have longer lives, they reproduce more, they produce many more babies, and there is this spillover of fish from these reserves to the nearby waters, so fishermen are actually doing better fishing around these protected areas. So we have a double win. Marine life comes back, and we have food security and livelihoods for people. So we decided to focus on that, on working with communities and governments to protect as many important places in the ocean as possible.
Well, and you've had an extraordinary run. Every time I hear about you, Enric, you're either publishing a paper, you're going off on expedition, or you're making a new film. I mean, the past years have been extraordinarily productive for you and for Pristine Seas. What are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Well, the most proud is that we have been privileged to support communities, indigenous peoples, and governments to implement their vision for conservation. Right? We have worked in countries like Chile, for example, where they created 4 large marine parks covering a quarter of their waters, fully protected from fishing. So we have been supporting these countries, these communities, with our research, economic analysis, communications, help with the policy work. But that's the biggest privilege, to have been able to run alongside these people who wanted, who knew that the ocean is important, and without a healthy ocean, there is no healthy communities. And since I moved to DC, we've been involved in the creation of 26 large marine reserves around the world, from the Arctic to Antarctica and in tropical seas. And the combined area is over half the size of the United States, that is fully protected from fishing and other damaging activities. So that's very fulfilling. Yeah.
That's something to be proud of. So how do you go, where do you go from here? How do you improve on that record?
We have only 8% of the ocean protected today. And our Earthshot is, as Patty said, 30 by 30. 30% of the ocean, at least, 30% of the ocean protected by 2030. And we know that if we protect the right 30%, not only we will prevent the extinction of many marine species, but also we will produce more fish. There's going to be, these protected areas are going to produce a spillover that will exceed the foregone catch. So we're going to have more fish to eat, food security, livelihoods for people. And we know that for every $1 that we invest in a protected area, in a marine reserve, that produces $10 in economic output and creates more jobs. So it's a triple win for marine life, for food security, and for climate, and of course, for the economy. So that's the goal, the mission, to, in the next 8 years, and that's where the Earthshot is really, is pretty crazy. In the next 8 years, we need to quadruple all the ocean protection that has ever happened in human history.
Are you optimistic that can be done?
I am optimistic. There is no choice. And I channel Christiana Figueres. I wake up in the morning and I think, okay, what's the door that is open today? I am optimistic because there are countries that have already protected 30% or more, like the UK, Seychelles, Palau, Niue, Chile, and others. And also because it is feasible, it's practical economically. The estimate is that it will take about $15 billion per year to protect 30% of the ocean, to cover the cost of managing this network of protected areas. $15 billion may seem like a lot, but that's less than the money that governments use to pay subsidies to the fishing industries to continue overfishing. And just to put it on an easier way to compare, we spend 5 times more on ice cream than what it would take to save our ocean life support system. So the money is there, we just need to use it for the right purposes. And the example of these living countries shows that it's possible.
How many countries are committing to this?
Now more than 100 countries support 30 by 30, and this year there is the most important summit that you have never heard of. It's happening this December in Montreal. Everybody has heard about the climate COPs, but we have the the biodiversity COP, the nature COP. It's the conference of the parties of the Convention on Biodiversity, all the countries of the world getting together this December to agree on how much space we're going to give to nature. And this is going to be the nature equivalent of the Paris Climate Agreement. It is the most important meeting together with the Paris Climate Agreement to decide the future of humanity. And there are already over 100 nations that support this goal of 30 by 30. So we hope that by December, the rest of the world will agree.
Well, I know everyone here joins me in wishing you luck with that goal. And thank you, Enric, for everything that you've done for the oceans. Your contribution has been immense and immeasurable. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you for the inspiration you've provided to me. Thank you so much.
Please welcome back Michael Bloomberg.
Well, hello again. I promise that your second favorite actor from the Adjustment Bureau will be on the stage soon. But first, I have the honor of introducing the woman who made today possible. Hannah Jones has a long track record of working on sustainability and innovation for change. Her dynamic leadership is already helping to deliver the mission of the Earthshot Prize, and I know she's just getting started. So please welcome to the stage the CEO of the Earthshot Prize, Hannah Jones.
Wow. Good morning. My name is Hannah Jones, and I'm CEO of the Earthshot Prize. And I wanted first to say a very sincere personal thanks to Mike, to the Bloomberg Philanthropy team, and to our own team at the Earthshot Prize for their tireless work over the last few weeks, and in particular, over a very challenging 2 weeks for the world, as we mourn together the loss of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And as we grieve, we remember Her Majesty's impact and legacy, and we give thanks for her leadership and service. As we reflect on what this loss means to each of us individually, we also remember these words from the annual address Her Majesty gave to the United Kingdom on Christmas Day 2019. She said, "Millions of us sat transfixed to our television screens as we watched Neil Armstrong taking a small step for man and a giant leap for mankind, and indeed for womankind." In Her Majesty's words, it's a reminder for all of us that giant leaps often start with small steps. Prince William, her grandson, and our founder, was inspired by President Kennedy's Moonshot Challenge to the American people, with that call to put a person on the moon and to bring them home safely. His challenge unleashed a wave of innovation and a collective mindset of optimism. And that possibility spurred decades of economic and social growth. Perhaps as importantly, the Moonshot Challenge inspired a collective mindset shift that humanity could make the seemingly impossible possible. President Kennedy challenged the American people to break barriers, to problem solve, to innovate, all in service of a singular vision of what could be. And it was achieved. Now it's time to do the same for our planet. This is the Earthshot decade. We are in a race to repair and regenerate the planet. Some will focus on policy, Some will focus on activism. We are focused on supporting the game changers, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, and the problem solvers. We believe in the power of human ingenuity, grit, and determination to create solutions that, if scaled, could repair the planet. Now, today, you've met many of our cohort of 2021 finalists, and they exemplify the courage and the leadership around the world that we're seeing as innovators like them dedicate their lives to repairing the planet. So could we just pause a moment to give them all a huge round of applause for their work? We are convened here today to call on each of us to support solutions such as these around the world and take them to scale as fast as possible. Our finalists need access to talent, to networks of power, to advice, and to blended capital. I am delighted to announce that in a month, the Earthshot Prize will reveal 15 new finalists, whose innovation will also help put the world firmly on a trajectory towards a stable climate where communities, oceans, and biodiversity thrive in harmony by 2030. Of these 15 finalists, 5 will be awarded £1 million each at a sustainably produced awards ceremony featuring some of the biggest names in music, activism, and entertainment, taking place on December the 2nd in Boston, Massachusetts. And we are delighted to be doing that in partnership with the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation. We see the Earthshot Prize as catalytic. And trust me, we will be seeking your support for this entire new cohort to make giant leaps forward in their impact. Our aim is clear: to inspire, but also to remind a new generation of Americans and a global viewing audience that the solutions to meet the greatest challenges head-on are within our reach. And now, as we look forward to Boston, it is my great pleasure to welcome Matt Damon.
Anna, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. Hi, everybody. What a morning. It's been incredibly inspiring. I'm so impressed by the work that each of these Earthshot finalists and so many of our speakers and guests are doing to repair our planet before it's too late. This week at UNGA, we're going to hear a lot about how this is a decisive decade. The truth is, if we factor in the time we lost to the pandemic and the stress we're already seeing in our food and water systems, the challenge of fixing our planet is even more urgent. So let's be honest, we don't really have a decade. So we can't waste time with more empty promises of incremental progress. We need to invest now in the innovators who are finding breakthrough solutions, scalable solutions. And I know the brainpower of these kinds of innovators because I get to work with one. Over a decade ago, I somehow convinced Gary White to partner with me. And together we've had the chance to work with and learn from some remarkable people, mainly women, who are working hard every day to transform the lives of their families. Now, these incredibly resilient people have a lot to teach us about what Benjamin Franklin called the worth of water. It's been a huge privilege for Gary and for me to learn from them and to apply what we learn. And that's one big reason why the Water.org model has been able to reach so many people. It'll be 50 million people that we reach by the end of this month with access to clean water and sanitation. So I've seen firsthand the potential that a breakthrough idea can hold. And if we start seeing more of these transformative solutions across all the challenges facing our planet, then suddenly our Earthshot won't seem so improbable. The work will be difficult. It'll take extraordinary resources, determination, partnership. But we've got all the essentials right here in this room. In the words of JFK and the legendary moonshot speech we honor today, We do this work not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Saving Earth will be worth it, and as the saying goes, there's no planet B, at least not a promising one. I don't know if you've seen my movie, The Martian. Spoiler alert, I spend like half the movie trying to grow one potato, so I think we're better off here for now. But there's no better place to launch our mission to repair our planet than my home city of Boston, and it's not only one of the greenest cities in America, it is the greatest city in America. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. The Sox are doing terrible, I gotta say something. I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker, Ambassador Caroline Kennedy. She's not only an incredible diplomat and author, but running through her veins, she has the vision, ingenuity, and drive of that original moonshot. Please welcome Ambassador Kennedy.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here with two such incredible sons of Boston. And thank you to Mike and Hannah for hosting us here today. Thank you, Mike, for your decades of leadership on issues that matter most. I'm honored to have worked with you over many years and to be here today. Thank you, Prince William, for your kind words about my father and for carrying on your family legacy with inspiration and vision here with the Earthshot Prize. It's great to be here and feel the energy and enthusiasm that is part of this movement. It's been, as we've heard, 60 years since President Kennedy announced the moonshot, committing the United States to landing a man on the moon within a decade. At the time, no one was sure it was possible. The United States had only completed 4 short manned space flights. No one knew how much it would cost. The necessary materials hadn't even been invented, and scientists weren't sure that a surface landing on the moon was even possible. But my father believed in the power of the idea. And over time, the vision, the purpose, the courage it embodied has inspired each generation to take on its own challenges, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. President Kennedy understood that the effort to land on the moon would bring out the best in us, that everyone would have to contribute, that it would require innovation, creativity, teamwork, commitment, and faith, and the world would be better because of it. The Earthshot Prize has inspired the same spirit of optimism and ingenuity on a global scale to tackle the most pressing challenge we now face, repairing the planet. My family and I are so excited that the Prince of Wales will honor this year's Earthshot Prize winners in partnership with the John F. Kennedy Library in Boston, a city that is committed to scientific excellence, environmental justice, and the fight against climate change. We're proud that President Kennedy's moonshot legacy still inspires hope, and we look forward to welcoming all of you who are working to ensure a better future here on Earth. I can't wait to see you there. Thank you. Supposedly someone's supposed to come back out here.
You in the middle. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you all found this enjoyable and informative and given us new impetus to go and change the world for the better. Thank you all for coming.
How is it